I sort of hung up my boots playing football. I was moping about. I was probably the heaviest I've been in a long time. And my other half was like, you need to go and play football.
Welcome back to Lose to Win, the podcast with myself, Jack, Josh, Ben and Gareth this week. How are we all doing, gentlemen? How is everybody?
Very good, very good. How are you?
Good evening, everybody.
Yeah, how's your week been, lads?
Really good, thank you, mate. So far, I've got the added impetus of my brother joining last weekend, or last week, I should say. Yes. So we're having a little bit of brotherly rivalry over it, which is good, healthy. Something I think I might have needed just to kick me on again.
Yeah.
So we're both playing golf on the 10th, and whoever loses this week in terms of percentage loss, because in terms of actual kilograms lost, he might stand a chance because he might have been a little heavier than he probably should have been after eating a pizza before last Friday. So the old tactical bulk. So instead of a number loss, we're going for a percentage loss. So we'll see. But yeah, the loser, I was back to the point. The loser buys a pint after golf on the 10th, and maybe a cheeky cheesy chips as well. So that'd be interesting.
Nice.
Yeah. Talking of tactical.
Yeah, go on.
I was just going to say, talking of tactical, I don't suppose any of your team have considered the fact that this week is your starting week wait for next season. Anyone feel like they're dropping off? Their team's going well?
I think inevitably that happens. It wouldn't be fair to pinpoint anybody in particular, but I've definitely heard kind of conversations about it, just kind of an understanding of this is something that you need to be aware of. But I think that's, for me, the drop off is dangerous. I need to be on it, and if I drop off, I can, as I've mentioned so many times on here, I can spiral like crazy.
I think it's something we've spoke about before in the last weeks of the season, or the end of the cup run, and when there's nothing to play for. I say there's nothing to play for. There's always something to play for. And this season, I think there is quite a lot of teams who've got something to play for. But I think, as you said, it's inevitable that people go, well, do you know what? It's the start of a new season next season. We're not really playing for anything this season. So if I don't lose weight this week, so be it. So people do take their foot off the gas. Not necessarily a conscious thing. I'm not saying people go out and shove their faces full of burgers and stuff to up the weight. I just think that some people go, oh, do you know what? I don't have to be quite as on it this week because, there's nothing much riding on it this week. So I think it'll be interesting to see. Obviously the teams that are banging it, you've got oranges and greens who are fighting out the weight loss and the overall league. They'll probably be right bang on it, but it wouldn't surprise me if the other 6 teams are a little bit less concerned, shall we say.
Yeah, absolutely.
It'd be interesting to see if Steve pulls an incentive out of his sleeve from somewhere.
Yeah, and just go, well, I didn't tell you, but
I'm pretty certain
I give it 10 goals each.
There'll definitely be one next week, I'd imagine, with
he was thinking about it.
Like myself, I'm not overly keen on friendly weeks. I get that you kind of have like an interim week where you got to sort yourself out, and there may be some movements. I know there's some rumblings within the Purples around some people that might be unable to continue or might be considering not continuing. Not for anything sinister, just for fair reason. But at least it should give us a little bit of time to sort it, and at the same time, anybody that is successfully losing weight should be incentivized in any way possible. Really,
it
always
helps.
I agree with that.
Because you're talking about incentivizing for that 1 week, but at the end of the day, the next week you'll score if you lose weight. So it's only really 1 week. And even if someone does just take, I'm going to have a little bit of a week off this week and take the foot, but by the next week they've still got to have lost weight again. So I know what you're saying about incentive to lose weight continuously, but it's only a week. Do you know what I mean? It's not like people are going to completely fall off the wagon, shove their faces full of food, because the next time they come back, they're potentially going to be into scoring own goal territories because of your starting weight being the last weigh-in of the season. Do you know what I mean? True. So while it is a friendly week, but it's the awards, and some people will be losing weight, some people won't be losing weight. It's not like, I don't think it's as important to put some kind of massive, if you lose weight this week, you'll score an extra goal. It's nice when they do that because it does encourage it, but it's not the end of the world. Because I think most people will be starting the new season on a positive anyway, trying to do what they can for their teams. So
it's twofold as well, though, because you've got the attendance seems to drop on friendly weeks as well, and that's the
Yeah,
important thing.
yeah.
I think incentivizing it does help increase the
Incentivise
attendance
turning
on
up.
that on that particular
Yeah.
week, but also the other side of it as well. You're right, Ben, and I think somebody with the mental strength of you and proven track record that you've got with losing, for me, as again, I'll go back to it, and I know others are in a similar situation. I don't need much to
just tip you over.
To kind of send me on a spiral.
Yeah.
So I think even if I tell myself, I'll just exactly. Even if I was to tell myself, I'll just take it foot off the gas a little bit or take it easy, it won't help.
Deadly. Yeah, fair point.
I'm exactly the same as you, Jack. I'm very sort of habitual, and I find if I just take my foot off the gas 1 week, then that's me off the wagon. So it's very important for me to, keep my foot on the gas and treat each week on its own merit.
Yeah, fair play.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I think I don't think my brother's going to give me an inch either, so I'm going to be.
That's good, though, mate.
It absolutely is. Yeah, it is. And if you think I'm competitive and determined, he's at a different level. He has taper. He's going to start listening to these. He occasionally listened and dipped in and out, but I'm sure he listened more now. But he is. We call him Mr. 100%. He is absolutely 100% with anything, especially when it comes to sport. There is no half measures. There's no cutting corners, and he is a credit where credit's due. He's very good with that, and he will, when he sets his mind on something, he is so determined it's ridiculous. So if somebody's told him he can't do something, the determination in him to prove them wrong is just, there's so much fire. And being a ginge, he's got so much fire in his belly. He's just ready to. Honestly, he could have an argument in an empty room. He's ready to go, but he's learned to control that. I credit where credit's due, as I say. I'm absolutely not taking a piss. He's learned to kind of enhance, and that becomes his superpower rather than his downfall.
Nice.
And that's really important.
Yeah.
So yeah, all good. We've kind of skimmed over. Obviously, we've got Gareth with us. So
of course,
we'll do a little bit of the normal stuff. We'll let Josh do his Man v Fat roundup in a moment. But yeah, welcome, mate. Really, really good to have you. It's somebody that we've all wanted to have on the chat on the pod for a little while. And obviously, you are a captain as well, aren't you? You are a captain of the Yellows.
I am, yeah.
So it's good to have another captain
in the league at the moment. But yeah.
Hey, it's the start of a new season.
Well, that's what part of the reason why I wanted to get your guys' opinion, because we got half the league represented in terms of captains. In this, so it was just good to get your opinion on the week heading into the last week of the season, whether you'd heard any grumblings or there was differences this week, or whether you felt like your teams were moving in the right direction still. But
yes, thanks for having me on, guys. It's been a pleasure to listen to you for the last 25 weeks, I think it is. So yeah,
is it really? Wow.
Yeah.
6 months been going.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, so yeah, let's crack on, and great to have you, mate.
Yeah, great to have you, Aaron.
Nice. Do you want me to crack on with the roundup first, and then we'll come back to?
Yeah, let's jump into the roundup, and we'll give Gareth a once over and dig into why he's doing what he's doing.
Yeah. Well, as we say, we're entering into the last week, so the penultimate week. It's kind of all up for grabs, though, going to last week. A rare defeat for the Greens. Well done, Purples, by the way.
Yeah.
The Oranges move within 2 points of the main league and overtake the long-term leaders in the Scales League as well. So Oranges now kind of in pole position. They can steal it last minute. Can you imagine?
Yeah. That'd be incredible. They've kind of gone under the radar a little bit on that, I think. I feel like they have, because everyone's been chasing the Greens. I feel like the Oranges have just kind of crept up quietly and just snuck in like a thief in the night. Fair play. They're absolutely smashing it.
Yeah,
very, very good. Pitch league, by the way, the Purples, your pitch draw means that the Blues extend the pitch league to 2 points as we move into the final week. So
it's going to be tight.
I don't know what
the
goal
difference is in Blues' favour quite considerably as well, I think.
Is it? Oh, okay.
But that being said, we might have a few rabbits up our sleeve and see what. You never write anything off, especially after last week. I was so proud. Very quickly jumping in, Josh. So proud of my Purples for for what we did against the Greens. It was always going to be tough, and granted, they're at the point now that they just need to get there. They're just like almost there, and we certainly turned up and made it count.
Well done,
absolutely.
mate.
I mean, very few teams have managed to stop the Greens this season, haven't they? And you can count yourself among them.
Very
fantastic effort this last week. Anyway, as we prepare for the final throw of the dice as such, 3 different teams lead the 3 leagues. So 4 teams are still within a chance of glory, and 3 of the 4 matches could affect the destination of one or more of the titles.
Love that.
A real nail biter towards the end. The week's results, though, last week. So Oranges had a fantastic 14-6 win against your Yellows, unfortunately, Gareth. Us Blacks lost 13-4 to the Blues. Greens, and as we mentioned, the Greens and Purples, that was a close one, wasn't it? So the Greens losing 15-14 to the Purples.
Wow.
3 all on the pitch as well. It was very tight. We almost put the pressure on with the Blues with the pitch result as well. So close.
Yeah. And then the Whites won 10-8 against the Reds. So
another close one.
Your Purples were the week's biggest collective losers, shifting 7.4 kilos, closely followed by the Blues with 5.8 kilos and the Whites 4.9 kilos. 6 of the 8 teams moved the dials in the right direction, with 51 players across the league losing weight. We had 71 weighing in, including 3 first-timers. So welcome to Luke, Sam and Chris, meaning that 75% of returning players managed to lose weight this week. So that's a very good job all round. 2 players, Tim Winrow and Tom Dowling, fell out of last man, unfortunately. Their teams were playing each other, so at least the lost goals cancelled each other out. So don't feel too bad, lads. You've had one hell of a season.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. One of the 7 survivors, Tom Marks, finally lost his Grace Week. And a huge respect to the Magnificent 7, who are now just 1 week away from carrying their scales through a full season. So Tom Marks, Ollie Wentworth, Mark Coffin, Ravnath, Ed Dowling, Dimmy, and John Costa. Rav and John, impressively, both are still in possession of their Grace Week.
Fair play.
We do want to have a special mention to Mark Coffin of the Greens, who has gone, from what I can tell, the entirety of the season without actually playing, but weighing in every single week and losing weight every single week.
Yeah, that's proper commitment, man.
Still in last man. So I hear he got injured. Actually, he got injured in the 3rd game of the season. So
okay.
Very unfortunate, but he's been an absolute machine, turning up every single week to weigh in and help the Greens on their magnificent run, and it's clearly helped because of the last man standing. So and for himself as well.
That just epitomises the Greens, doesn't it? That is what they're about. Fair play to them.
So honestly, it's extremely commendable, because I think I would say, and I count myself among them, if I was injured long term, I think that I'm not sure if I'd have quite the mental fortitude to keep turning up every single week to weigh in. I think there's going to be times where I'm just like, well, I'm not going to be playing, so I'll give this week a miss, etc., etc. Obviously that's my downfall, but this
this shows the level of commitment, though, and also the right kind of mindset, really, that he's joined to lose weight, but he's also joined a team, but by not being able to play on the pitch, he can contribute to his team by losing weight and scoring those weight loss goals. That's kind of what it's all about, and definitely what Jack just said, that epitomises the Greens this season, that they've all been totally and utterly committed to the cause, and him doing that just speaks volumes. So bravo, man. Well deserved. Well done to those.
I know Tim's beating himself up a little bit over falling out of the last man standing, but something we referenced last week, the fact that Greens can win Friday, with not winning the pitch league and not winning the weight league, and that is down to how well and how good they've done with last man standing. It can only be that, and obviously well-timed percentages and whatever else has happened. But last man standing has really got them over that line, and there's still a very good chance they will. Do you know what I mean? So I think I think that's really important for everyone that's been involved with the Greens so far is to look back and not be upset that you've not made it all the way, but be so proud that you made it pretty much all of the way. And
they've had a great season.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah. And that's a testament. I mean, Last Man is testament just to their consistent weight loss. You think about, more than anything else, the Last Man is an indicator of how well they're doing for themselves.
Yes.
Every single week losing a little bit of weight. So I know that they all look a little bit skinnier than they were.
They all look a lot skinnier. They're all disappearing.
Quite a bit. Yeah, exactly. We've waxed lyrical about Tim a lot, but him wearing his lads' jacket every week he turns up now.
Yeah, that's mad.
Quite amazing, really. So, but we had 2 milestone men, by the way, to celebrate, both in their first season with the club. So George Howe lost the colossal 3.2 kilos this week.
Yes, Georgie.
Past his 5% milestone.
Good man.
George is now 8.9 kilos lighter than when he joined us. A fantastic start to his MVF journey.
Brilliant.
Even bigger numbers for John Costa, who joins the 10% class.
Wow,
10% club,
season as well, isn't he?
having lost 11.5 kilos since week 1 sign up.
Fair play.
What a contributor on and off the pitch as well. Like, incredible. Top guy. And
absolutely
a very good footballer as well. Like, sneaky good footballer, and also very good at the weight loss side of things as well. Just so
he's been amazing. He did say to me a couple of weeks ago that he's now down like 1.5 sizes in shirts, and he's now had to, I think he's down like 4 inches on his waistline already. And I didn't think there was loads to him to begin with, but it's just amazing. So anyway, so he's lost every single week because he's still got his grace week as well. So
brilliant.
Well done to George and John on their great achievements.
Fantastic, lads.
But it's the only beginning, I guess. Only the beginning, sorry, I guess. So keep it up, lads. Very good going. George Howe did, by the way, as I say, lead team of the week, which includes the usual mix of old hands and newer faces. Particular mention should go to Dom, who lost 2.2 kilos, having only weighed in for the first time last week.
Yeah, good lad.
So
amazing.
George Howe lost 3.2 kilos. Billy Greenwood lost 2.6 kilos. Nice. Dom lost 2.2. Mark Oxborough lost 1.7. Dimmy lost another 1.7.
Incredible.
Dan Dancer lost 1.4. The league lost a total of 20.8 kilos last week.
Nice.
So well and truly back into top form as such, resolving a bug in the system that messed with one of the players' season start weight, by the way. Also restored about 10 kilos that went missing from our seasonal total last week, meaning we are now 25.7 kilos away from completing a 200 kilo season.
Oof.
So
kgs.
I'll tell you what, if there's a glitch in a MVF system, MVF Bournemouth will find it.
Absolutely. Guaranteed.
It's a not daunting, but it's a challenging target, 25.7 kilos, but it's one we've surpassed on 4 occasions this season. And although it's still the last week of the season, let's kind of hope we can finish in style, really.
I reckon with so much to play for, there's a chance it could happen, you know. I think there's just...
Well, you've got 2 teams that are definitely going to be pumped for the last week on the weight loss. And that's Oranges and Greens. So they're going to be pushing for it. So potentially between them, they could edge close to sort of 15 kg. So it only means the rest of the 6 of us have got to lose 10 kgs roughly between us. So
it'll come down to the teams with nothing to play for, won't it?
The Whites are desperate to not finish last as well, and I think that's a real incentive in itself, isn't it? I think, and you've got
also driving going into the new season as well. It's good to go in with momentum, you know. Try and go in with the fact that everyone's on the same page and everyone's geared up to it and everyone's going to go for it. And if you get the mentality right from the off, you've got a good chance of a good start. So that's quite an incentive to keep going.
Well, that's the main incentive from our team is we're not in much. I mean, obviously we don't want to finish last, but it's more just setting yourselves up for the next season to challenge yourself. That tends to be the general consensus this week, is everyone's like, we know it's the way in, going to be our starting weight next season. Let's challenge ourselves. And that tends to be. So that's pushing everyone in the right direction this week. So we should be on for a good one as well, I think.
Good.
This week from what I've heard. So sounds all very promising.
So what are the matches for this week then? What are the ones to watch?
Oh, God.
Greens are playing purples, aren't they? Oh, no.
No,
sorry,
that was last week.
Oranges are playing purple. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and at the moment, I think there might be a bit of a crisis in amongst the purples just for personnel and injuries and bits and pieces. I've just seen that Neil might have picked up a knock last night at AFC Bournemouth. I know Ryan's struggling a little bit with a knee injury. Inevitably, the Putticks are made of absolute steel, so that at least one of them will play for sure. But
yeah, I'm sure.
There's so much riding on it as well, isn't there? We've purples. We've got 10 available again for 2 weeks in a row, which makes such a difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
Game time becomes a little bit of a difficult thing, but remembering why it's not just about the game time, it's about why you're there and what else you're doing around it, and that'll make a difference. So yeah, Josh, you'll probably know better than I can't think of what the other ones are. Who have Greens got? What's the important game they've got?
So the Greens have got the Whites at 9 o'clock.
Yeah, Whites will be keen to push them. So
there's a little one. Somebody who will remain nameless has a chance of hitting a maintenance and a percentage at the same time.
Right, well, you can only get one.
Yeah,
you can only
I know
get
who that is.
I don't think that's the case. I think Steve said otherwise.
What? You can only get one bonus at a time. You can't score 6 goals off of a bonus. You can't do that.
We'll see. Well, there we go. That might put a cat amongst many pigeons.
As far as I'm aware, you can only get one bonus at a time. I might be wrong, unless he hasn't got a bonus already in the season. If he hasn't already hit one and he hits a percentage. Okay,
sure
so I was in the weighing room with the said person, and I'm pretty sure Steve said that whoever Whites are playing will be 6 goals down potentially.
Okay, so it must be that he's not hit a percentage first. So it must be if he hits his first percentage and gets into maintenance, then perhaps that's when he can score.
I think if they're different weights, basically, which they will be, obviously, because they can't. Then if it's then they should both count. So if you let's just say hypothetically they lost 1 kilo and they needed to lose 0.4 of a kilo to hit the percentage and 0.6 to hit maintenance.
Okay.
Hypothetically, they get both.
That sounds feasible.
Very interesting. So things could swing. This is where it gets very interesting, doesn't it?
I love it. This has definitely been the closest it's ever been, right? I don't remember it ever going down to the final. I mean, it must have gone down to the final game of the season, right? Before.
Yeah, it has before.
Yeah.
But I think in the first season I was here, so this is season 3 for me, 3 or 4. I think 4 for me. So yeah, it has happened before. I know that. I think
the only time that a different team has won the overall league and then the weight loss league, I think it's only once, and I think that's when we had the awards at when we were out at Hamworthy, and that's Blacks won the overall league and then Yellows won the weight loss league.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
I think that might be the only time that happened. I don't know. I might be wrong. I can't remember, to be honest. I'm just trying to recall it, but I know it happened there. I don't know if that was the only other time, but it's not a common thing.
Not a common thing at all. No.
It
will be. And it shows the value. It's not diminishing Steve's incentive. It's actually proving that the little incentives are worth working towards as well.
Of course.
Because if they are able to do it without weight or pitch, it can only be one other thing, really, isn't it? There's only one other way you get your goals.
Yeah.
So amazing stuff. Exciting. Looking forward to it.
I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
And the Yellows face the Mighty Blacks in the graveyard shift.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
Bless you guys.
Yeah, and unfortunately, neither of us have much to play for, do we? Really, other than ourselves. Yeah,
Pride, yes, and trying to get off bottom of the league.
Well, there you go.
Come on.
There is something in it. You don't want a wooden spoon.
Nope.
Yeah, indeed. Anyway, as you're here, Yellow's captain Gareth, shall we move on and have a bit of chat? Got you on here for a reason. I know Jack usually has a few questions primed for you to go.
Yeah, he probably knows him because he's a regular listener. So let's start with who your team is for all your sorrows and everything else. Who's your team?
Yes, I am a tractor boy, so Ipswich Town are my team.
Well,
I may not have the accent, but I'm a Suffolk boy, born and bred.
Okay.
Okay.
And,
when did you move down here?
There is a twinge.
When did you move?
I moved down to Bournemouth to go to uni when I was 18, and I haven't been home since.
That's quite a common thing. I used to work with somebody did exactly not from Ipswich, but from London. So it's quite a common thing. Yeah. Did you fall in love with the area, or did you fall in love with somebody from the area, or what's the situation?
Bit of both, really.
Okay.
I met someone at uni and sort of stayed down here, got a job down here. And if anyone's ever been to Suffolk, you'll know that there's absolutely bugger all there apart from flat fields.
It's very flat, yeah.
So
if you wanted to know what Suffolk was like 30 years ago, go now.
That's harsh.
It's true, to be fair.
So the reason, obviously, supporting them is you're from there. Is there any standout moment that made you fall in love with the club, or why did you start supporting them? Did your dad take you? What's the crack?
Yeah, it's exactly that. I'm a professional team in Suffolk. My dad's an Ipswich Town fan, and my earliest memories are sort of going on the bus to Porton Road and under the lights, full house, watching them lose. They're my sort of earliest good memories, really. And then I went through a bit of a rebellious stage after I sort of started school and supported Man United for a bit. Even had the Man United wallpaper in the bedroom.
Oh, dude.
Oh, wow.
But I soon.
That sounds like a little bit more than just supporting.
It's when you're sort of young and impressionable, and everyone else supports Man United or whatever. That was a thing I did, but I quickly realised when I was about sort of 12, 13, what the hell am I supporting Man United for? Like, I've never ever watched them play. I go to watch Ipswich regularly. I'm an Ipswich Town fan. So when I was about 13, I sort of started falling in love with them again. And I started watching quite a few games, and my best footballing memory, or the best game I've ever been to, was the playoff semi-final, second leg, Ipswich against Bolton. We won 5-3 after extra time. I think there was like 3 penalties, a hat-trick, 2 send-ins off, pitch invasion. It was just absolutely incredible, and that's when I sort of fell in love with them again.
That's proper football, that, isn't it?
Yeah, proper football. So ever since then, I sort of catch games when I can. Obviously, last few seasons haven't been too good, but I'm pleased to see us back where we belong.
Yeah.
And hopefully,
having a cracking season this season, mate. Having a cracking season.
Doing very well. If you'd asked me 6 weeks ago I'd have been happier then. But with Saints and Leeds breathing down our necks, but I'd have taken this at the start of the season any day of the week. So doing very well.
Absolutely. Did you get promoted last season? Am I right in thinking? So you've come. You've got potential for back to back if you continue the way you're going, which is pretty impressive going, isn't it? It doesn't happen that often, I don't think.
No, but it can happen with that sort of momentum that teams get. And we haven't really changed a lot, to be quite honest. We've sort of kept a lot of the core players, same team. And they're sort of so well drilled and got the system down to a T that they've just taken to this league like a duck to water, really, and they're sort of swinging away against the big boys, and they're on merit, really. So doing very well.
Well, I think you've got a playoff place bolted on, haven't you? Really, I mean, you'd have to do something monumentally crap to drop out of the playoffs at this point.
Yeah, I'd like to think so. But
I would think so. Football. No, and the Championship is particularly bad for that. But you'd have to really basically cock it up not to get into the playoffs at this point.
Massively, yeah.
I think the top spot's gone. I think that's theirs all day long. But the second spot, I think that's open. I think there is. I think you boys have got a really good chance. I mean, the favourites obviously are Southampton or Leeds to grab that, but I think you boys are playing so well, and you're just sort of holding your own.
Well, we've been on a sort of bad run recently, but that bad run has sort of only consisted of one defeat.
Yeah.
And now we've
that's
got a
key,
run.
innit?
Yeah, and we've got a run of games now. I think there's only one team in the top 7 or 8, and then the rest are bottom half of the league. So that's, when
Happy
we need
days.
to pick up all our points. So we'll see. But yeah, we're doing really good.
There's definitely a few strong teams, as Ben said. You got Southampton have bolstered their ranks with some good players, including Brooks from Bournemouth.
Yeah.
Leeds are just being Leeds, aren't they? I think they're on a bit of a march at the moment. Form-wise, they're certainly picking up. Always a dangerous team. I always look forward to this kind of last leg of the championship, or coming into the last leg of the championship, because you've got all of the jostling for playoff positions, and there's always somebody that ends up sneaking in. It's all of, not just against the championship, it's all of the EFL, where the playoffs are so good.
Yeah,
I would welcome something. It's a different subject for a different day, but I'd welcome something like that for like the last Champions League spot or something, just to add to the theatre and the spice. We've got so much that is negative and backwards around the Premier League at the moment in terms of the officiating and the technology within it. I think you could really up the entertainment level of. I know the players will whinge about more games, but I think it will be such a good celebration and such an interesting thing to watch. But yeah, the playoffs have revolutionised the EFL, really, haven't they?
Well, I think a good idea as well would be to have some sort of playoff between the 4th bottom of the Premier League and the.
That'd be good.
That is brutal, isn't it? That is.
Imagine that. The money riding on it and everything. I think that'd be awesome. But
what do you reckon's worse, losing in the playoff final, or losing in the playoff final for the Champions League, or losing in the playoff final to get relegated?
Oh,
it's got to be going down, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, just think about it. You play 38 games of the season, and imagine you're tied on goal difference, and then you just have to play a one-off shootout against that team to go down.
Well, that's right. It could happen at some point, couldn't it? If everything was equal, they do go.
Yeah.
The last Ipswich question for now is, who's your favourite player, past or present, you can have? Who stands out for you?
Well, when I first started watching Ipswich, it was I'm showing my age now, but it was John Walk was still playing.
Silence must. We don't know.
Yeah, that's gone straight over my head.
Yeah. Sorry.
Then obviously you had Matty Hollands of this world, and
Matty Hollands, what a player!
Yeah. I think he
proper nice guy as well, wasn't he?
Getting a yellow card.
Did he?
Yeah, I believe so.
He's a proper nice lad as well, isn't he? Yeah. I've heard him do some co-coms recently as well on stuff, and he's proper clued up. He's well respected within that, I think.
Yeah, definitely. But the player that stands out for me in that sort of promotion season and sort of back in 2000 was a striker called Marcus Stewart.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have seen much of him, but he's absolutely awesome. Magic with the ball at his feet. He's sort of one of these players that didn't have any pace, built like a string bean, but he was just on the ball, was just incredible. Yeah, it would have to be him, Marcus Stewart, I think, would be my player.
Yeah. Connor Chaplin's your goal scorer at the moment, isn't he? He's the main man for you?
Yeah, he's not a sort of traditional striker. He's more of a number 10.
Yeah.
We are sort of lacking a striker, and I've seen we've been linked with Kiefer Moore.
Really?
I don't know whether we can afford his wages. That's the downside of that. But
yeah.
It's our striker, George Hurst, who's David
out for the season, isn't
he? Yeah, he's out, and we've badly missed that sort of striker, proper out and out number 9. So we're badly in need of one, and Kiefer Moore fits the bill. But whether we get him, who knows?
Yeah, it's all down to the wire, really. I know that he's been linked, and he needs game time, and I think Bournemouth could do with getting him off the wage structure as well, to be honest.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'd be a good signing. He needs game time, definitely.
Yeah, would be.
I was going to ask you, Gareth, actually, hypothetically, I know I'm getting ahead of myself. You guys get promoted. Where are you going to need players? What would you need to do in the summer to try and guarantee some safety in the Premier League?
I'd say we probably need to sign about 15 or 20 players, like Nottingham Forest.
You don't want that, mate. Seriously,
it's very difficult because we're a team without any sort of standout individuals or any weak links. I think just the way we play, the system is so well drilled that I think, and he's a very good coach, Kieran McKenna, who we've got at the moment. I think whoever he gets in, I'm sure he can mould them to how he wants them. So I can't see us going out and spending a lot of money and blowing our budget. I think they'll be very shrewd with who they sign and look for youngsters and players from sort of Championship and lower leagues to sort of bring in and fit how he wants to play, basically.
Yeah, I think historically teams that get promoted who keep their teams pretty much the same and may sign one or two sort of maybe flair players are the ones that generally do well their first season in the Premier League. It's the ones that come up and then feel the need to change their entire squad that really struggle, because you don't have the time to bed them in. You just don't have it. So you're much better off having a team that play well together, have played well together in the Championship, certainly for the first half of the season, at least to get you to January, and then start making sure you're safe, and then you can start to transition. If you look at clubs that have done that, you look at Bournemouth, probably one. Sheffield United did it first season. Luton are doing it right now. Who else have done it? West Brom, I think, have done that before, though they're a bit of a yo-yo team. Norwich are a yo-yo team. But it's interesting to see. But the problem is, of course, then you get the second season syndrome where they kind of drop down. So you've got to try and get a nice balance, I think. But
Brentford are a team, I guess. That's the sort of mould. They didn't go crazy, did they? Fulham,
no, they didn't go mad. Yeah.
So it can be done. It can be done.
Yeah. Definitely, yeah. There's something about that team spirit of a team getting promoted together and doing it together, and there'll be an uncertainty and understanding of, or lack of understanding from some Premier League coaches of what to expect from him. Exactly that. Yeah. From Kieran McKenna's. What are your thoughts on Kieran McKenna? He's a bit of a god at the moment, isn't he?
Oh, he's absolutely destined for the top, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm hearing that a lot.
I think he's on the radar of a lot of Premier League clubs already. So I think that would be our biggest challenge, is keeping hold of him. Mm-hmm. As long as we get promoted and stay in the Premier League, we should be able to do that for a little while. But yeah, he's destined for big things.
Well, I guess Ollie Solskjaer was absolutely terrible then, because leaving Man United, apparently he was the problem, and he goes off and does amazing. So he can't have been all bad.
No, definitely not.
Exactly.
So not to bring it back to Man United at all, but
here he goes.
As a coach.
He is.
It's good to know he's doing well.
Very impressive. Yeah, I've certainly heard lots of good things about him, and I think previous coaches that have worked with him, either underneath him or above him, I'd certainly say good things. So it'd be very interesting. Fair play. Yeah. Good luck to him. Good luck to Good luck to Ipswich.
I mean, I know I said it as a bit of a joke on the unofficial WhatsApp group the other day, but I honestly think Ipswich are one of the biggest clubs in the country. Like, I'm not talking like top 6, but I think they are a Premier League club. So
they've been in about it for a long time, haven't they?
Yeah. We've won the European Cup and the FA Cup. I know we're talking many years ago, but
there's not many that can say that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I wanted to move into the Man v Fat stuff, if you don't mind, Gareth.
Yeah.
Because I can't actually remember when you've joined. Well, obviously be able to tell us, but what kind of history have you got with football in that? Because obviously we know you're quite a good footballer. And what kind of history have you got with weight? How did it all start to begin with? What made you decide you needed to do something?
Well, you're right. I've played football ever since I was about 9 years old, and I have played to a fairly decent standard. But I kind of stopped when I came down to uni. Because then you got kebabs, beer, women, not necessarily in that order. And ever since then, really, my weight has yo-yoed massively. And I'm very much a person that I don't have any willpower for myself, so I need some sort of accountability. So in the past, I've done things like white collar boxing. I've lost a load of weight doing that. And sort of fast forward to May last year, I sort of hung up my boots playing football. I was moping about. I was probably the heaviest I've been in a long time. And my other half was like, you need to go and play football, probably to try and get me out of the house. And I was just scrolling through Facebook one day and I saw MVF advertised. I thought, well, this could be it, it gets me back into football. It'll give me some accountability. So I sent a message off and, a few hours later, message from Steve, do you want to play tonight? Yeah, I'd love to. And this was in May last year, and the rest is history, really. And I found it absolutely incredible because you've played with me, so you probably know I'm quite a competitive sort of individual. It gives me the accountability. It's doing something I love, playing football, and it's helping me lose weight. So it ticks every single box, and I've absolutely loved it.
Yeah. Fair play, mate. You've done so well so far.
Yeah, I'm going to
well.
say you're smashing it as well, aren't you? So you really embraced it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, you and I have played football together before, haven't we? We played, I can't remember.
Yeah.
What's it, Broadstone Leisure Centre, isn't it?
It was down at Broadstone.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Was it a Monday night down there? My knees still feel the pain from that now. A hard floor playing football in a hard floor.
It's like glorified cage football, basically.
It was, yeah. And that was yonks, wasn't it? And we suddenly spotted each other in the way and we were like, hello, mate, how's things? Not seen each other for such a long time.
But it was so nice seeing a familiar face there, because for any newbie, no matter how comfortable you are playing football, whatever, it is nerve-wracking turning up and daunting. Seeing all these new faces. What's it going to be like? And I said hello to you pretty much as soon as I got there. I thought, that's good. I recognise someone. And one thing I found with Man vs Fat, the community is just absolutely incredible. Like, I know it's been said before on the pod and whatever, but playing football on a Friday night is tiny part of what it's all about. And the rest of it is, the banter, the unofficial groups, the football that's organised throughout the week. It's really is a fantastic community, and the podcast, of course.
That's very kind of it.
It's really, really good. So I would recommend it to absolutely anybody.
Yeah, we are very lucky, and it's something that we've all spoken about before. But we are very lucky with it, and it does make such a difference. And if we're able to help somebody along the journey in terms of a conversation that we can have with them, I think doing this podcast has made me more accountable about the conversations I have with people and how I want to be perceived around the club. Before I was certainly somebody there could be considered there for the football and spent too much time worrying about the football and less about the weight, and it does make a difference, and it's important to remember that all the time. It's hard, but it's important too.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But on my own personal weight loss journey, I think I hit my 15% in about 5 months.
Wow.
In my first full season. So I was pretty well chuffed with that. This season has been completely different for me. It's taken on a sort of new dynamic, being captain of the Yellows. So I've had more to think about than sort of just turn up and play and lose weight throughout the week. It's been different and challenging at the same time. And this season's been a bit stop-start because I had an operation which set me back about 4 weeks for Christmas. And I've been quite open and honest about the Christmas period, but I did sort of fall off the wagon in terms of getting into bad habits with food, not exercising, being lazy, just not doing the right things, doing the things that I had changed in the previous 5 months. So
it's difficult though, mate. I know that the operation thing. Did you have the operation just before Christmas?
It was sort of early November, so I was just sort of getting back fit.
Oh, and then you went into
then Christmas came.
Yeah,
it was sort of one after the other, and after my first weigh-in after Christmas, I think I'd put on 4 kilos, something like that.
Right.
And Steve just looked at me and said, "Oh, you've enjoyed Christmas then."
In his disappointed face.
Yeah, exactly. We've all seen it.
Yeah.
So since then, I've sort of got back on the wagon and been doing the right things, and the weight is coming off again. And And next season, I'm really looking forward to getting that slate wiped clean and carrying on.
Yeah.
On the weight
Well,
loss
you
journey.
absolutely smashed it, mate. I mean, to have joined in, mate, and then hit your 15% as quickly as you did.
Yeah.
That you started saying you really committed to it, and you really went for it, and it was really noticeable as well. I think you were one of those people that you kind of turned up and everyone was like, who's that over there? Oh, it's Gareth. Oh, he looks completely different. New players that you would do that to, and you were definitely one of them. And really, really impressive, mate. So fair play to that.
Yeah.
From your perspective, go on, Josh. Sorry,
I was going to say, you don't mind me asking, if you're willing to divulge, how much actual weight you've lost? Because as Ben was saying, I mean, it was noticeable now, but if I'm honest, I can't remember what you were like when you started, so it's hard for me to be able to kind of gauge.
A lot fatter. I weighed in my first weigh-in. I think I weighed in at 102 kilos, and on my lightest I've been weighing in, I was 85 something.
Wow.
So I'm now weighing about 89. So
so you're just under 15 k's down. That's pretty good, mate. To be fair,
that's very impressive.
To lose nearly 20 k's in the first 4 months as well is really well going, really good going.
Yeah. One question I've got, and that you'd be able to help others that may next season become this. How have you found your first season as being a captain, and what do you think has worked, and what do you think is good for the role of a captain? How does that look?
Well, I've really enjoyed it. I think obviously the main thing is getting the team together and organising who's playing and sorting out the logistical side of things. I think even the most important side of it, which I probably haven't mastered yet, is the motivation to lose weight. The Yellows this season we've been okay on the pitch. We've been doing all right. We've had good results, but I think where we've really struggled is off the pitch on the scales. So the way I've approached it this season is I've wanted everyone to enjoy it. I've just said go out there and enjoy it. I purposely didn't want to be that sort of authoritarian, sort of manager saying, you must lose weight this week.
Get a stick out and give a good beating.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the sort of balance I'm trying to find at the moment. Ben, you're obviously a master at it, so I'll be trying to get some.
Oh, bless you, mate.
Some tips off you, but I found that really interesting. But I have really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I have a quick question, because obviously, as you alluded to, Ben's the master here, and as we're all captains, I thought I'd just ask, and this is going to be quite honest for me. I found, since becoming a captain, I've struggled more with my weight than I did when I was just a member of the team, just someone else who turned up. I think so personally. I mean, maybe it's just coincidence. Maybe I've been far too lax on it and just kind of treated it more as a social club rather than a weight loss league. But in the last kind of couple of seasons where I've been a captain, I've just struggled more, maybe since the turnover of this new team. And that's nothing to do with the team themselves. They've been phenomenal. It's more, I don't know what you guys have found, or if that's complete opposite for you guys, or if it's something. I was just curious, really.
That's an interesting one. I think from my point of view, the first time I captained was with the Greens, and that was actually the second season, and that was the season we went on and won it, and I was actually doing really well on weight loss. I think that was probably my best weight loss season. So I think it was that me losing weight and kind of leading by example that really helped the team. I mean, Jack probably chip in for that, because that gives you the bullets, if you like, to say, come on guys, I'm doing it. If I can do it, you can do it. And especially in that season, I got injured and I was actually out. I didn't play for 6 weeks, but I still turned up on my crutches and I was losing weight. And I think the lads were like, fair play. If Ben's doing it, then we can probably do it. But going back to this season, for example, kind of missing the Reds one out, but coming back to Blues, I've struggled with weight this season. I'm actually going to end this season heavier than I started it for the first time in Man v Fat, because I put last season when we did what we did with the Blues, I put a lot of effort in as a new team and trying to get to know people and doing all of the whole trying to inspire people to go on their journey and lose weight. And luckily enough, I had a group of lads who were really committed and really went for it, and we ended up doing really well. But I didn't lose much last season. I literally lost a couple of kilos, I think, over the whole season. And this season I've kind of gone backwards a little bit, and I don't know. It's a real tough one. I can kind of see your point, Josh. I can see that it would be a struggle because you're concentrating on your team rather than yourself. So you can perhaps not do as well as you might if you were just concentrating on yourself, if that makes any sense. So when you're concentrating on yourself and you've only got yourself to worry about and your own journey, and then turning up on a Friday and playing and doing your bit for the team and leaving again, it's kind of easier, I think. When you do have the weight of, helping the rest of the team and trying to push them all and coming up with ideas and talking to people individually and whatnot about it, it can get quite tiring. Actually, I found last season really tiring. By the end of the season, I was quite emotionally drained. So I totally get your point. Jack, how do you feel about it?
I think I echo what you say with it, and that I can see Josh's point with it. I think what's always important with having managed people before, I kind of revert back to type with that. And I think a lot of the time, or all the time, your respect is gained by actions, not about what you say. It's about what you do, and how you do it. And I think having that accountability of yourself and supporting people in an action, granted you're having a conversation, but supporting people within that action will inevitably go, there's an accountability to them. It's hearts and minds what you've got to think about it. Why do you want to do it? What's your driver? What makes you want to be here? What's making you turn up every Friday? And a lot of the time, what's not working, you're turning up every Friday, your commitment's here, but what else is missing? And you try and help them find that themselves without kind of turning it into managing people or whatever that is. You kind of just, you're there as an ear, you're there as somebody who's supportive. And I found this season we've done really well on the pitch, and gutted to potentially not be winning the pitch league. But these things happen. But for a first season team to be up there doing that is quite rare. We've got a good bunch of lads, and a lot of the things do themselves. The foundations of a good team were there to start with, people wanting to win on and off the pitch, do the right things. And then the flip side of it is the support that I got from Kev being a longer standing member and an experienced member of it, bringing in people that are his friends and his mates. That helps as well. So he's got their trust and their understanding of it as well. So yeah, I think it suits some people more than others, and almost as cheesy as it is, not every good footballer makes a good manager. And similar to this, not every amazing weight loss person is going to be the best captain. And what you kind of have your place. You're a team player or you're a team leader. And some people, I'm not suggesting that I'm the best at it at all, but I just find myself as a natural talker and a natural kind of people person. It just kind of falls naturally to me. And I think you are the biggest example of that, where you don't need to do too much. You've got the respect of anybody that gets you as their next captain. They're gonna understand and know the respect that you've earned, and they'll listen to what you have to say. And that's all through action rather than what you're saying.
Yeah.
A long way round of explaining that, but that's how it feels to me. And it's so important to just be supportive, just be that person that can help, that person that you can trust to have a conversation with. Because at the end of the day, people are people. We've all got things going on in life. So we've all got shit things happening. We've all got good stuff happening. And we've all got our own motivations. And a lot of the time, motivations are very similar, but different for different reasons. So it's important to understand those and support them with what they want to achieve. Setting goals with them or helping them set goals is such a big thing. Really important. So it is a privilege to do it, and a privilege to be asked to do it. And
definitely.
Long may it continue for everybody that wants to give it a go as well.
Yeah, cool.
Amazing. Well, thank you for that.
We went into a deep dive there.
It did a little bit, yeah.
It was a deep dive. Maybe the question there I should really lead on to is how are you finding it then, Gareth? Are you finding it it's beneficial for yourself in your weight loss, or has it been a problem? Was it neither here or there for yourself?
I think it's neither here nor there. I think if anything, it does motivate me to lead by example and do things that way. I think it's just coincidental that this season is my first season as captain, and I've had other things going on, which has meant that I haven't been able to be consistent with my weight loss.
Yeah.
So I don't think I can put it down to being captain. But certainly next season, I'm extremely determined to lead by example, and I think it will spur me on even more. So yeah, I don't think it has affected me negatively. I think probably the opposite, if anything. But because if I wasn't captain, who knows? I may have even put more weight on.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So your vice captain with the Yellows is Dimmy, right? Is he your vice?
Mr. Consistent.
Well, there you go. You see,
yeah.
You're very fortunate. You've had Dimmy, who's absolutely smashed it out of the park this season, and someone who's been there for long. Similarly, I've got Ollie as my vice, who is also, super consistent, and that really helps to have someone, by your side who's doing the do and walking the walk, and that's really helpful. So yeah, outstanding from him as well. So
definitely, massive shout out to Dimmy while we're on that subject. He's just been absolutely awesome. He sort of, I think you said in the past, Ben, but he's just so under the radar.
Yeah, totally.
And
he's such a nice guy, unassuming, isn't he?
Yeah. He's absolutely awesome. And I joked with Jack earlier in the week that I think the reason he's lost all this weight is he's been carrying the Yellows all season. Every week he's in last man standing, and he's in last man standing last season.
Yeah.
So he's absolutely awesome, and
didn't he get
noticeable as well.
He got something last season. Did he get an award? Was it biggest loser or something last season? Was he?
I won. I got biggest loser last season.
You did. That's right. And then Dim was got something. I can't remember what it was.
He was runner up in last man standing.
Right. That's right.
He was only on final two, but I think he didn't have a grace week because he was away for 1 week.
That's why
I got it.
Well, Debbie is definitely a guest we're going to get on at some point to hear his story, because he's been here from the start, and I think he's had a bit of a roller coaster, to be fair, because I know it didn't come easy to him early doors. And it's only the last couple of seasons that he seems to have found it kind of clicked with him, and he's done outstandingly well. So it'd be great to hear his story when he comes on.
Well. Yeah, that'd be good.
Long may it continue. So Yellow's going to be a force to be reckoned with next season.
Yeah. I think so too. Yeah, definitely.
We'll wait and see.
Before we move on, Gareth, just quickly, I wanted to understand, what have you got a goal in mind? Have you got any goals set for yourself? Is it just I want to achieve maintenance, or is there something in mind that you've got in the shorter term? Or
yeah, well, I'm getting married in June this year.
Congratulations!
Another wedding.
Another wedding. Your invites are in the post. So obviously it'd be nice to get down to a nice weight for the photos, etc. And the honeymoon, and getting my bikini body. But generally, no, just to get down to a weight that I'm happy with. Whether that is maintenance or not, I don't know, because I'm not 100% sure BMI is the best indicator of being at a healthy weight.
Yeah, no, I agree.
My maintenance level is, I don't think I've ever been at as an adult, and I considered myself sort of extremely fit on occasions. So we'll see. It's just to get down to a weight which I'm happy and content with, and go from there, really.
Fair play, mate.
Amazing. Yeah, that's it. Perfect goal. Have you got a stag do coming up that you're going to want to lose some timber for, or anything like that as well?
I haven't got any stag do arranged yet.
God.
We could probably help out with that.
That's a cup, yeah. It'd be a stag don't.
Sure, we can have a man versus fat stag.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Any excuse to get us together for some beers, mate. 100%. We'll give you a send off. Right, should we tuck into some football stuff then, shall we? Thank you so much, Gareth. That's been amazing, mate. It's been really good.
Pleasure.
Somebody that we've wanted to have on for a while. So, yeah, that's really good. And we'll continue to keep an eye on your journey, and you'll be the type of person that we want on this time next year to go, I've done it. This is where I am. This is how it's changed my life.
Yeah, I'll take you up on it.
Definitely.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Brilliant. Well, that's what football do we want to talk about? I mean, what's the biggest piece of news we could have heard? Probably the most surprising thing, I guess all of us have heard in the last week.
Yeah.
Jurgen Klopp going to leave Liverpool at the end of the season.
Yeah.
I have to admit, I was very surprised.
I was too.
I was less so after hearing him talk about it because it makes sense, but at the same time, he signed a new contract in the summer, didn't he? So I just
it's an interesting one, isn't it? Isn't it? I think there's something lined up though. I think he's lining something else up, a big move somewhere else.
I don't know if that's. I just don't think listening to him talk about. I don't think that's the case at all. I think his family is a big driver behind this. I think his family, him and his.
He speaks about his wife a lot, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think they're quite keen to get him to actually spend some time with him necessarily. What I mean is, I think it's obviously taking its toll on him, and he's quite a energetic man, isn't he? Really?
Yeah.
He puts his all into everything. I think he's just tired, isn't he? Really? He's been doing it a long time. What is he? 8 years now at Liverpool now?
Is it that long?
Like that, yeah.
Crikey, okay, fair play.
9th season or something.
Wow, okay, fair enough.
So
you don't mean he's going to go to Barca or something like that then, or maybe take the Man U job?
Well, he said, hasn't he, that he won't take another English job. Jokes aside, I can understand that. The club that Liverpool are and the community that they are, I think you have to become one of them to do it. They're kind of a law to themselves in many ways, more than one. And also, I was thinking through, so Bayern aren't having the best of times, but I don't think he would go to Bayern based on his Dortmund past.
No.
And then what does that leave him? It does leave Spain, and Real Madrid inevitably are a team that will, I think, be looking for a new coach when Ancelotti does whatever he does, whether he takes this Brazil job or not.
Mm-hmm.
The German job is an obvious one. I think Nagelsmann's only got it until the end of the summer, end of the tournament.
Yeah,
I was thinking international football. It's a little slightly. I'm not saying it's slightly slower, but he has more time.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I think, and if he wants that kind of management itch still, coaching itch, I think international football would suit him. Obviously, we'd say that as England, we would want, I guess,
Yeah, that's a shout. I never even thought about that. But I don't know how did you all find out the news?
I just saw it on social media.
I just saw it breaking. I was like, I actually didn't believe it at first. I thought it was just a joke. I kind of thought. I read it and then I thought that doesn't sound right. And then of course I go to the biggest and best source we all know, Fabrizio Romano, to double check that it was accurate.
Well, that's it. So I have his tweets on notification. So it came through and I was driving, sat in traffic, and I was like, no, surely not. And for any police listening, hands free, completely called my younger brother, who is Liverpool everything, and he knew exactly what I was going to say. He's like, I know. As soon as I called, he answered like, I know. And I was like, do you think it's real? And he's like, no, it can't be. He's been hacked. I was like, that's a mad. If they've managed to hack Fabrizio Romano and they've gone with that, it's a mad one. And I think he's like many other Liverpool fans. He probably still doesn't want to believe that it's happening. Understandably, as much as I mock him about it and will continue to, I can understand from their point of view that that's probably the last bit of news they wanted. It could have been a lot softer, any other kind of news about the club, but it's absolutely huge for him.
On the sort of flip side, I think it's nice of him to leave almost at the top of his game. It's so often you see it, these sort of club legends.
Yeah, they hang around a bit too long
in a job and just
I think the way that it's happened is interesting. The timing is not ideal, so I think the theory is that the press and from, again, this is what I've heard. I listened to an awful lot of TalkSport driving around. I've heard people high up within the press, like Henry Winter and others, say that they have a relationship with a club, and what they do with the club is, if they have some news, they contact the club and say, we're aware of this, we believe it to be true, we're going to break this information tomorrow, or give them say this is what we're going to do. And it kind of has given Liverpool the chance to control the narrative themselves, rather than it be taken out of context for many other reasons, and also to protect everything, especially when it comes to share prices and whatever else it may be involved with Liverpool.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So and there's also a theory as well, I guess completely unconfirmed until one of the players confirm it, or Jurgen does, is that they found out the morning of him delivering the press conference, or that interview he did with Liverpool TV, which is, if you think that he's saying he's known since November, if it has been kept away from him, it's very interesting.
I don't know. I heard he told the club in November.
Excuse me, sorry.
So he told the club in November.
Right. And
but I don't know if he told his players in November. I think he would have spoken to the players a day or so before that. He came. I don't know. You might be right.
I'd be very surprised if he didn't sit down with the players at some point before.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's certainly interesting, isn't it? And I think, I guess, there's all jokes aside, I think he's done a fantastic job. An interesting perspective is Jimmy, who came to sit and watch the first half, or first hour of the Arsenal game with me at the pub last night. He kind of controversial view on it is that Klopp isn't the Messiah and hasn't done as well as everybody thinks he has. And we laughed to start with, and then he kind of justified it. So I don't know if he's had this conversation or you've seen it as well, but they mentioned how the 1 year that they won the league, they won it in the COVID season with no fans and whatever else. He said about the finals, he said there was they've been to a couple of European finals, haven't they? Definitely Europa League and a Champions League that they didn't win. What was the other part of the theory?
Well, it's funny. I just found what you might have been looking for in terms of the counter argument. It's kind of a bit of shithousery, I guess, really, on some levels. So he's 8 years. He spent 1.3 billion.
Yeah, that's a significant amount of money.
Yeah. 50 plus signings. I mean, favourable VAR decisions is a bit of a kind of, anyone can really claim that. Yeah, his one title was in COVID VAR season. He's had 2 domestic trophies, but both were 0-0 and penalties. He didn't actually win any of them. And his one Champions League is versus Spurs.
That was it. That was the kicker for me. Yeah, I kind of agreed with that.
And it's like, was Jurgen Klopp a flop?
Yeah,
but
it's a proper dodgy penalty, wasn't it, against Spurs in the final as well, wasn't it? Like a questionable handball.
I can't remember, unfortunately, but it did make me laugh, that kind of thing. But from where they were before he took him over to where they've got to, is obviously, it's 30 odd years without a trophy, and then, or at least the Premier League.
Spending that sort of money doesn't guarantee you trophies, does it, Josh?
No, exactly. Exactly. So so it's kind of an interesting. Well, obviously, I believe he's done a phenomenal job, and he's a fantastic manager. So it's a shame the Premier League's going to be worse off without.
Yeah, it will.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, do you think any of the main Liverpool players are going to leave then? As a quick.
I don't think so. I know Van Dijk saying he's been taken out of context recently in an interview about it. I don't think so. It'd be very interesting who they get next. I guess that's something that will come down the line, especially in terms of us having a chat about it. I think somebody like De Zerbi may be the right choice. I'd be surprised. It seems like Alonso's favourite. But for me, Alonso, the experience that Liverpool need right now with a manager leaving like him is, you need somebody with experience that can steer a ship and settle things down and make sure. I think if Alonso takes over and there's a run of a couple of dodgy results, especially at home, things could really turn quite quickly for them. And
yeah, it'll be interesting as well because they've got a young side, haven't they? There's a lot of young players that have come through under Klopp.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah,
and they bought quite wisely in the summer, didn't they? Really. I think the only thing I will say is Salah's probably the only player there. Well, one of a couple maybe that I can't see him being there maybe next year.
I would have been surprised if he was with Klopp there anyway next year. I think he may have. He can see the pound notes and he can see his name in stars where he wants to go and play. And I think it is what it is. Again, he'll be ashamed to lose from the Premier League, but it's not something that would be too surprising, really.
Yeah, just a thought. I can't imagine much will happen this summer. I think they'll want to keep the stability in the dressing room once they lose it above them. But I can't
get Hendo back in.
Yeah,
Gerrard.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Oh God.
I did see someone say, imagine if this happened 2 seasons ago, you'd have Gerrard there.
Yeah, and what a shit show he would have made of it as well. By the way, I think they've dodged a bullet there. I think he needs an awful big ship to turn for him to get
maybe one
back
day.
in favour.
Maybe one day he'll get there.
Well, he needs a better.
He
needs a better job, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I think he's in the wrong league. Nobody's going to take him seriously or that league seriously at the moment, really.
No.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure his back pocket really minds too much.
No. And if that's all he's interested in, then so be it. He's in the right place, isn't he?
Well, he's still young, isn't he? Still people like him. I mean, I know people say Rooney, him, and Lampard. But people they're all young still. Young in the trade
and massive, and they're all absolute club legends at their respective clubs. So,
yeah,
indeed. Anyway,
what's next, Josh? What you got?
Bring up, something I did want to bring up. It was generically around player discipline, but I know you guys were talking about. Well, should we just hinge it on Marcus Rashford and his?
Rashy.
We'll brush over the Man United talk quickly this week. That's funny. It's a weird one because he's not really one of the players I would consider who has a discipline problem.
No,
he hasn't historically had one, but it does seem to be creeping in. And the question to you guys really is, I mean, it might just be Man United and it's very highly publicised discipline issues with players, but I don't know if there's an issue around the league or if it is just Man United. Have you noticed it in other places as well? Or is it that
I think you're
players
right.
are getting a little bit too
big for their boots.
Casual, maybe that's the term. Big for their boots.
Yeah.
So.
It might be that they're big for their boots, and United are just being sort of not overzealous. That maybe they're just being a bit more. They're cracking down on their players a bit more, and because it has got a bit of heat there. That these are the sort of things that are coming up. Whereas other clubs, it might go under the radar a little bit. With United being under the spotlight so much, maybe that's why we're seeing it. Because my understanding of it was it was an authorised do, wasn't it? He was allowed to go.
Yeah.
And it,
he was at an authorised do on the Wednesday night.
Yeah.
At least, and I think it was a Wednesday, and then there was a Thursday as well. And then he was ill for training on Friday and Saturday, as far as I'm aware.
Right.
He'd requested to travel to the Newport game. Requested from Ten Hag. He asked Ten Hag if he can travel to the Newport game, etc. And then Ten Hag said no, stay at Carrington and train and recover, etc. So that's why he wasn't in the Newport game. And then all of a sudden, the whole thing came out on that Sunday that he'd been out partying. He was ill, etc. And that he's got therefore it's a very big discipline problem. And to be fair, Ten Hag didn't help the situation. It sounds
like something and nothing, to be honest.
Yeah, a little bit that. But Ten Hag did say every time he got questioned, it's an internal matter. If it was nothing, I would have just assumed he would say he was just ill. It was nothing.
So you're saying that he kicked
genuinely ill. So
you reckon that Rashford kicked off saying, "Why am I not going? Why am I not going?"
No. I don't think it's that so much. I think he probably respected the manager's decision because he obviously didn't turn up, did he? I think
he probably didn't want to go to Newport. To be fair,
I think it's more. I think it's kind of in two parts. I think Rashford kind of took the mix slightly, in terms of his stay and his attitude and discipline, or when he was on his night out, etc. And that partly led to him not being very well. And then Ten Hag's obviously going to be like, well, you need to clamp down on this. You can't keep doing this. And then basically said you can't come to Newport because of that. And then it's obviously the media takes it and runs with it. And it gets kind of exploded into a huge discipline issue. The very fact that he said it's an internal matter, he's taking responsibility for his actions, it's done, case closed, move on. And then obviously me being in Man United circles on Twitter, you hear about comparisons to Sancho and comparisons to all sorts of other things. So which I think are a bit ridiculous given this situation, because of how he handled it. Go on.
Even if it has been sort of blown out of proportion a bit, I think he's brought a lot of it on himself. In terms of going out midweek and getting absolutely shit-faced. Midweek between games, whatever. It's just unnecessary. I think there's a time and a place for it for footballers. Like you see Grealish sort of post-season after they've won the treble, whatever. He can do. That's the time to do it. Not in January when you've got a FA Cup game coming up.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I think I listened to Gary Neville talking about it, and he said it's just timing. It's simply timing that's the problem. It's not. Footballers should be allowed to go out and enjoy themselves on occasion like everyone else, so long as they're disciplined, because they understand it's their job. But the timing is terrible.
I agree. They can live their lives, do what they need to do. But if you're doing that on a Thursday night before a Saturday evening game, it was a Saturday evening, wasn't it? Was it Sunday evening? I get confused.
Sunday lunchtime.
Sunday. Yeah. So either way, how that's happening, and knowing that he needed to be at training the next morning, there's clearly a problem, isn't there? Something around how he is. Things seem to be just spiraling for him a little bit.
Yeah,
he seems less happy. He seems less himself. Form has dipped, and that often goes hand in hand. Whether form's dipped and it's caused it, or whatever he's doing has caused his form to dip. And he just seems that he is just not himself, not the Rashford, and he's certainly behaving and not playing his way out because he's not playing well at all.
No.
He's certainly getting himself closer and closer to not being called up by Southgate. And we know Southgate doesn't need any excuse, any half as involved as this one seems to be, to drop somebody like that. So it'd be very, very interesting. I don't know what to make of it. It just seems that he is on a bit of a collision course.
It just seems like he's struggling. And again,
he was linked with PSG earlier on today.
Yeah. Well, he's going to be linked everywhere, isn't he? It's the same with any player gets any discipline, they're going to be linked away, because it's almost like a sign of they're not getting along with the club or the manager or various things. Yeah. I think in this case it is a bit worrying, but only in the long-term sense rather than the what's just happened, because there are signs, as you were saying, Jack, that things just aren't quite right, whether it's for him mentally or whatever. But he's which is a bit unlike Marcus Rashford, really. I know he's quite a quiet man, generally speaking, but it's a little worrying. And there's a little bit of a theory that he's kind of he's got a few too many people in his inner circle who are influencing him not in the right way. Much in the same way that people like Paul Pogba and Jesse Lingard and Sancho and various other people who have been at Man United who I know Rashford to have been close with.
That's a good point.
So maybe there's a little bit of that's kind of just rubbed off. And I mean, a guy gets paid $300,000 a week or $325,000 a week, doesn't he? So
very interesting.
Well, if you won't mind, Maz, we've got a few minutes maybe. Fantasy football, mainly because we know Gareth is a keen fantasy football player.
Yeah, not very good, but I'm keen.
Well, mate, you know your stuff, don't you? So how are you doing in fantasy world at the moment? What's your plans? Because I'm not sure I have any idea what I'm doing.
Well, in FPL, we're definitely getting to the time of the season where I think the casuals are separated from the engaged players. I think this is where the engaged players make up a lot of ground, a lot of points.
Yeah.
Because there's blank game weeks, double game weeks, all the chips to use. So it's an interesting time in FPL. But as for what I'm doing, I don't have a clue.
How's your team? How's your team doing, mate? Whereabouts are you?
Just in and around the 1 million mark at the moment, which is pretty poor.
Lots of season to go, though.
Yeah, a long way to go, and I'm pretty confident I'll make up a fair bit of ground, but how much exactly, I don't know.
Yeah,
you're creeping up the Man v Fat League, aren't you? Sneakily.
Yeah, as I said, I'm sort of coming up from the rear.
Good choice with Saka as captain last night. See?
Well, I should have gone with Alvarez, but
yeah.
Well, I've made a massive error there because I ended up captain Haaland, thinking, he'll come back in, and even if he plays 20 minutes, he'll score. But sadly, I don't think that's the case. He did. I think he came on for about 10 minutes.
Yeah. He absolutely shanked one as well. I had it on in the background. He lined one up, a typical left foot absolute thunderbolt, and it just spun off his. I think he managed to double kick it, hit his right foot, then his left, and it went flying off for a throw in. And I haven't got this volume up, but I'm sure there's a few ironic cheers in there somewhere. But yeah, it won't. You can't keep a man like him down, can you?
No, quite.
Yeah. Well, he's coming in for me this week. So, sorry, continue, Gareth. Go on.
No, you carry on. I brought him in this week because, as you say, he's very high on the shopping list with Man City's double game week coming up. I pulled the trigger early in the hope that he'd have a sort of 20-30 minute cameo tonight and bang a couple of goals, sort of De Bruyne-esque. But it didn't happen. But I'm pleased he's in my team anyway.
Yeah, right. He's my. I might as well just pull the trigger because I know I'm going to, and he's survived without injury. So now I know I'm just going to get him in for this week. That's my main consideration.
Yeah.
I have the money just to get rid of my third forward, which is Archer. To get him in. Right. Although there's the wish of having gotten De Bruyne in, and I've gone without Alvarez for a while, but he's not going to be so much of an issue now. So
not now. Haaland's back and De Bruyne's in.
I've had a touch. I've got Joe Gomez in my back line, and he's just gone off, and Chelsea have just scored as well, so he went off with a clean sheet.
Clean sheet locked in.
Which was handy. I did also have and Doggy or Udoggy, whatever his name is, on the bench, and he got himself a goal tonight as well. So I've missed out on those points, but I've done all right. I've got Foden, De Bruyne, and Alvarez. Alvarez is my captain. So
Foden got an assist, I think.
Yeah, Foden did. De Bruyne got assist, and Alvarez got 2. So there's points there. Had Ollie Watkins up front. He got a goal last night. So I'm actually sat in the same as Gareth at the moment. I just looked. We're both on 49 points this week. So you've managed to do it a different way with Saka as your captain, and you do have Jared Bowen. I think Jared Bowen is I fancy him to get a goal tomorrow night. He's such a good player. He's on good form as well. I think he's one to look out for to get into that Euros team, definitely.
He does well at home.
Yeah, I think so.
What else you got, Josh? What else you got in the fancy?
Well, nothing special. I kind of just knew with Gareth on being quite keen, we just wanted to chat a little bit back and forth on it. I haven't really got any thoughts other than obviously Man City have got a double coming up. So, I mean, as we alluded to, Pep Roulette's going to be an issue.
Yeah, definitely.
So now he's got close to a full squad back. So even though I've got Foden, I captained him this week. I'm not 100% sold he's going to be playing every minute, which he probably won't be, we know. But when he plays is more important than how much he plays, I think.
Mm-hmm.
What week is the double for City?
25. So
25.
Yeah. So
I see. Brentford and Chelsea.
September. Yeah. So they have
and highly likely as well that Liverpool Luton will be rearranged for that week as well. Yet to be announced, but it's pretty likely that's going to fall in that week too.
That's why Salah probably won't be fit by then anyway. But I think I'm basically set on the fact that I probably just won't be able to have Haaland and Salah in the team at any point in the near future. So I'm settling for the one I know who's fit and who's going to play for now, and then we'll see about it in a few weeks' time.
It's got some interesting fixtures as well, haven't they? After that double game week, you've got Bournemouth, and then you've got Man United at home and Liverpool away. So that back to back, those two's brutal, isn't it?
Yeah, not so bad though when you're City, is it really?
No. When you've got over the 4 games from Man United, Liverpool, Brighton, and Arsenal. So you've got a defining period really for them, and everything's clicking at the right time for them with De Bruyne and Haaland coming back. So
my thought would be Man City players are kind of where you want to lie. If you don't have Haaland, he's the priority. Other than that, I mean, what are we saying about Man City players? Foden, and if maybe a defender Kyle Walker wasn't even playing today.
Are we doing quite well? Say again, Gareth. Sorry, I missed that.
I think Kyle Walker now. I think he's had his rest tonight, so I think this is the first game he hasn't played all season. I think so. I think he's probably a shoe-in now.
To do with his recent interview with the Sun as well, isn't it? With his
playing away from home, wasn't it?
Yeah, every other night apparently. It must be a tired boy. How many kids has he got? Fucking hell. What's wrong with these guys, eh?
Yeah, so they're the priority. They're the priority. Liverpool players. I mean, the thing about Liverpool is I would want Darwin or Jota or someone like that, but again, minutes is an issue.
Darwin, shit, mate. He missed a penalty tonight as well.
Yeah, I'm just waiting until they got a confirmed double but the problem is then they're not playing in 26.
Yeah, exactly. So just be careful if you want to weigh in on Liverpool that they blank the week after.
Yeah.
I like the fact that fantasy football has become more mainstream.
Absolutely.
Some of the games they'll occasionally, Sky probably mainly, but they show occasionally some kind of fantasy football, or even commentators occasionally talk about it.
They're always talking about it. But ironically, FPL is probably my least favourite fantasy game in terms of I play Sky Fantasy Football, Telegraph Fantasy Football.
Okay.
You can win actual cash prizes apart from a cuddly toy or whatever you get with FPL. So I sort of concentrate on those. I tend to do better on those. But if anyone else is interested in other fantasy games, they're really, really good for sort of engaged managers. A lot of planning involved and stuff.
Yeah, and the point scoring systems are different, aren't they? Slightly. I know Sky is
completely
ridiculous.
different.
So it allows you more. I mean, like for example, people like Rodri and that aren't just aren't a thing, in FPL because defensive midfielders in general aren't generally a thing. But I imagine in those games, although I don't know the point scoring systems, help those kind of players.
Exactly. In Sky, you get passing bonuses and tackle bonuses and everything else. It's really interesting if anyone sort of wants to have a go at that one.
Yeah, I remember years ago. Mate. Yeah, right. I remember years ago. Is it the Sun's dream team? The Sun's getting far too much coverage tonight. But the Sun dream team. I remember you kind of got the weekend before the season started. You got and on the back of the paper, you got all of the list of players and their values, and you kind of pick your team through that. I think that was long before apps and whatever else. So it's a strange memory. My memory is awful, but it's quite a bit of a vivid memory.
And then if anyone got injured, you were stuffed because you couldn't transfer anybody until January. I think you could transfer 2 players.
In the post.
That's it, yeah.
It was a nightmare. I remember I did it one year and I had Shaka Hislop in goal and he got injured in the first game. I didn't have a keeper all season.
That's brilliant.
That's going back quite a long way, by the way.
Yeah, right.
What a keeper, by the way.
Yeah, amazing. Oh dear.
All right,
just on the stroke of finishing, Liverpool have just gone 4-1 up against Chelsea.
Have they? Oh my days.
Only on the 78th minute, Diaz has just bagged the goal, so I don't know if it'd be Diaz on their team, but Liverpool are looking impressive, very, very impressive.
4 different goal scorers. There you go: Jota, Bradley, Szoboszlai,
and they missed a penalty.
Oh, hello.
Yes, Darwin.
So could have been a lot more. We'll see. It's still at least 10 minutes left. So it could be Chelsea.
So there's my 2-2 prediction out the window.
Yeah, right.
So don't listen to me if I'm ever predicting a match.
And I think on that note, if we are done, guys, I think we'll call it a night. And thank Gareth very much for his time. I appreciate it. Was a relatively last minute booking for you, mate, but it's been an absolute pleasure having you. It's been been awesome. Great insight, mate, and keep it going. And if you need any tips about being a captain, go to Ben.
It's more me who needs that, mate.
My surgery will be open on Friday evenings. It's been great to have you on, Gareth. Oh, free of charge, mate. Free of charge.
Cheers, fellas. Have a good one, mate.
Cheers.
Yeah. Take care, boys.
See you Friday.
Cheers,